Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Bangladesh's leather industry. It's a sector that might, well, surprise you with its scale and ambition. Currently the country's second largest export earner.
That's right.
And they've got these huge goals aiming for $5 billion in exports in, 5 years? And then $10 billion by 2035.
Yeah,
Ambitious.
Still very ambitious.
So our mission today is really to unpack where things stand now, look at the shifts happening, the really pressing challenges, and also the massive potential that's there for you, the listener, to understand.
Yeah, and just to give some context here, Bangladesh already holds about 3% of the global market share.
Okay.
And it can meet nearly 10% of the world's leather demand, which is pretty significant.
It really is.
So this deep dive will, shine a light on what's driving the growth we're seeing, especially in footwear. But crucially, we also need to talk about the bottlenecks.
Right.
Like the big one, that Central Effluent Treatment Plant, the CETP. It's largely dysfunctional, and estimates suggest it's costing them maybe $500 million a year.
$500 million just from that one plant issue.
Annually, yeah.
Yeah.
In potential export revenue, they just can't access because of it. It's basically locking them out of higher value markets.
Wow, that's staggering right off the bat. So given that massive loss, is Bangladesh really a giant in the making here? Or is the picture maybe a bit more complicated?
Definitely nuanced.
I mean, the latest numbers, July 24 to May 25, showed total leather exports hit $1.06 billion. That's up 12.55%. So there is growth.
There is growth, yeah.
But what specifically is driving it? Is it across the board?
No, not really. And that's what's fascinating. The growth is almost entirely coming from footwear.
Just footwear.
Pretty much. Leather footwear surged almost 29%, 28.96% to be exact, hitting $620 million.
Okay.
And even non-leather footwear did incredibly well, up over 30% to nearly $500 million.
So shoes are booming.
Shoes are definitely booming. But look at the contrast. Leather goods were actually down about 3.4%, and finished leather down almost 8%. So the overall number looks positive, but it's really footwear carrying all the weight. It points to a very specific strength, or maybe focus.
That's a really interesting split. Footwear way up, other key areas down. What does that tell us about where their competitive edge actually lies? Is it a deliberate strategy, you think, or?
Well, it certainly suggests they've got footwear manufacturing down pat, efficiency, maybe specialization, but it also screams missed opportunity in those other segments, like finished leather or more diverse goods, where the value addition could be higher.
Right.
To really get it, we probably need to look back a bit. Where did this industry come from? What are its sort of foundations?
Exactly. I mean, it goes back to the 1940s, right? But a key moment was 1991. They banned wet blue leather exports.
Yes, that was crucial.
A clear signal, wasn't it, to push for more value inside Bangladesh, not just shipping out semi-processed stuff.
Absolutely. That really set the stage. And today, the scale is huge. You've got, maybe 113 to 155 tanneries actually operating out of 2 to 20 registered?
Something like that, yeah.
Plus around 3,500 smaller businesses, SMEs, and about 110 large firms.
And the jobs. It's massive employment.
Around 850,000 people. And what's really striking is how many women are involved, especially in footwear, about 60% of that workforce.
Wow.
And they have this core strength. 90% of the raw materials are domestic.
That's huge.
Especially the black Bengal goat skins. They're highly regarded, very versatile. You can add potentially up to 90% more value, turning those into finished products compared to just selling the hides.
An incredible advantage, that domestic supply. But hang on. If the raw material base is so strong, why do we keep hearing about problems with hide quality and wastage? Is that a processing issue then, not supply?
That's a great question. It points towards processing and handling, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely circle back to the rawhide challenges.
Okay, and where are all these products actually going? What's their global footprint look like?
They're reaching over 50 countries, the big ones. India, Dubai, UK, Germany, Italy, Russia, Canada, Australia, Japan.
Wide reach.
Definitely. And the U.S. has become really key for leather footwear. Exports there jumped 64% in 2022.
64%. Wow. Why such a big jump?
A lot of that is down to the China Plus One strategy. Buyers are deliberately looking for alternatives to China.
Right. Diversifying their supply chains.
Exactly. And that's a huge geopolitical shift. For Bangladesh, it's potentially a golden opportunity if they can meet the demands, compliance, quality, all of it. Interestingly, though, for leather apparel and accessories specifically, India actually overtook the U.S. as the top destination in 2023.
So it's complex. Different markets, different product strengths. It's not just about making things, it's about making the right things for the right markets and tapping into these global shifts.
Precisely. Smart production.
But okay, let's get into the tough stuff. Despite the growth, despite the reach, the sources are really clear about some major roadblocks. Let's tackle what sounds like the absolute biggest one. Environmental compliance. That CETP plant in Savar.
Yeah, this is the core problem, really. The
Yeah.
Savar CETP is, well, it's largely dysfunctional.
How bad is it?
It's designed for, say, 35,000 cubic meters of waste a day at peak, but it only processes around 14,000.
So less than half.
Less than half.
Wow.
The rest. It pollutes the Dhalashwari River severely.
And the impact.
The direct impact is that most tanneries there cannot get Leather Working Group certification, LWG cert,
Which is essential for
selling to major international brands and retailers. It's basically a non-starter for premium markets. And that lack of certification is where that $500 million estimated annual loss comes from.
because they can't sell to the high-paying buyers.
Exactly. LWG actually suspended certifications for facilities using the Savar CETP. So these tanneries are forced to sell to, lower-tier buyers, often at discounts of 20%, sometimes up to 60%.
Ouch. 60% less.
Yeah, it creates this vicious cycle, this compliance trap. They can't get certified because of the CETP, so they get lower prices, which means they have less money to invest in improvements, including helping fix the CETP or setting up their own treatment.
It's a classic chicken and egg situation then. No certification, no money. No money, no upgrades for certification.
That sums it up pretty well. It's systemic.
Is anyone getting around it? You mentioned one company.
Ah, yes. There is one exception noted. Simona Tanning Inc., Bangladesh. They're at a Savar address, but somehow achieved LWG Gold certification. So maybe they have their own effluent treatment or found some other way to meet the standard. It shows it's possible, perhaps, but clearly not the norm.
Okay, so the CETP is a massive bottleneck. What about the raw materials themselves? You mentioned issues there earlier. Despite the good domestic supply.
Right. Even with plenty of hides, especially around EUDR, there are big quality problems.
Like what?
Well, coordination is poor. Preservation methods aren't always great. Transport gets delayed. Storage is insufficient. All this leads to maybe 10–20% of hides just being wasted.
10 to 20% just lost.
Lost or significantly damaged, yeah. And then there's the skinning itself. A study in 2025 found 21% of hides had flake cuts damaged from unskilled skinning.
And that lowers the value.
Significantly. Those hides sold for 43% less. So you're losing value right at the very start of the chain before tanning even begins.
Okay, so problems at the plant, problems with the raw hides. What about technology? Is the industry keeping up?
Generally, no. That's another major hurdle. There are significant tech gaps. Modernization is slow.
Still using old methods.
Many firms are, yeah. Outdated manual processes. It hurts efficiency, consistency, quality control. Adopting Industry 4.0 stuff, automation, data exchange faces big barriers. High cost is one, but also just lack of know-how, maybe resistance to change. Automation in leather is definitely lagging behind, say, Bangladesh's garment sector. And that makes it harder to compete globally, especially for big, high-quality orders.
And on top of all that, you've got increasingly tough international regulations piling on, right? It's not just what you make, but how you make it and how you prove it.
Precisely. That's becoming absolutely critical. Think about EU regulations. You've got REACH that restricts hazardous chemicals like chromium-6, requires constant testing, careful chemical management. And then the big one looming is the EU Deforestation Regulation, the EUDR.
Right, I've heard about this. When does it kick in?
December 2025 for large companies, June 2026 for SMEs. And it demands proof that any cattle-derived leather hasn't come from land deforested since December 2020.
Proof how?
That's the challenge. It requires robust end-to-end traceability. You need geolocation data pinpointing where the cattle came from.
All the way back to the farm.
All the way back. And for an industry like Bangladesh's, where supply chain transparency is, well, currently lacking, this is a monumental task.
Monumental feels like an understatement.
It really does. If they can't provide that verifiable data, their access to the huge EU market could be severely threatened. It's a massive compliance risk looming.
Okay. So we've got the dysfunctional treatment plant, rawhide quality issues, tech gaps, and now these incredibly demanding EU regulations. It does make you wonder about that $10 billion target. Feels like a bit of a pipe dream facing all this.
It certainly looks daunting, no question.
But the sources also talk about immense potential still waiting there. So how do they actually unlock it? How can Bangladesh move past these hurdles and climb up that value chain?
The opportunity is definitely there. A big part of it is shifting strategy, moving away from just exporting semi-finished leather.
Like the wet blue they used to focus on.
Exactly. And focusing instead on high-value finished goods, footwear, bags, accessories. That's where the big value addition happens, up to 90%, remember, especially with those good local skins. And the global market for leather goods is enormous, projected to hit, what, $855 billion by 2032.
Wow.
So the demand exists. And we're already seeing local brands in Bangladesh like Hingar or Orong making really high-quality stuff. It shows the capability is there domestically.
So focus on finished goods. What about sustainability? Beyond just fixing the CETP, what does a greener future look like?
That's absolutely critical, and there are exciting things happening. For traditional leather, it means adopting cleaner tanning methods, vegetable tanning, chrome-free tanning,
Right.
and much better waste management. Things like recovering the chromium used in tanning, or using waste to produce biogas through biomethanation.
Okay. Improving the existing process.
Yes. But here's where it gets really interesting. The push into plant-based or vegan leather alternatives.
Ah, okay. Tell me more.
Well, there are companies doing pioneering work. Banofi Leather, for example, uses banana fibers.
Banana fibers. Seriously.
Seriously. And they claim huge environmental benefits. 95% less water, 90% lower carbon footprint, and completely eliminates toxic chemicals compared to traditional tanning.
That's incredible.
Then you have Rinco Leathers looking at fruit peels. And Faria Green Mood Leathers is already selling faux leather products.
So this isn't just theoretical.
Not at all. It's a real emerging part of the sector. And strategically, it's smart. It taps into the growing demand for cruelty-free products, and it sidesteps many of the environmental compliance headaches tied to traditional leather.
A complete pivot, almost. That could be huge, couldn't it? Mitigating risk while tapping into a new market.
Potentially, yes. It could fundamentally change perceptions and production models.
Okay, so production shifts, sustainability pushes. How else can Bangladesh attract more investment and really expand its global reach in this tricky landscape?
Well, they can definitely keep leveraging those global supply chain shifts, like the China Plus One strategy we talked about, especially for footwear, where they're already strong.
Positioning themselves as the reliable alternative.
Exactly. Reliable and compliant, that's the key. Strategic partnerships, joint ventures with international players, those are important too. And the government does have policies aimed at helping.
Like what?
There's the Leather and Leather Products Development Policy from 2019 and the current export policy for 2024-27. They offer incentives, things like lower corporate income tax for the sector, bonded warehousing facilities to ease import-export.
Trying to make it more attractive for foreign direct investment, FDI.
Right. Streamlining those processes is crucial.
And finally, you can't ignore the people, right? And the role of digital tech in all this, how does that fit in?
Absolutely vital on both counts. You need a skilled workforce. That means targeted training programs, not just in design and production, but right back at the start of the chain. Training butchers and traders in better rawhide preservation to cut down that initial waste and improve quality.
Makes sense. Improve skills across the board.
And then, digital transformation. It's not optional anymore. Automation is needed for efficiency and quality. But maybe even more importantly, robust digital traceability systems.
For things like that EUDR regulation?
Precisely. You need systems, maybe even using blockchain, that can track everything and provide that verifiable geolocation data, right from the farm or source of the hide all the way to the finished shoe or bag being exported.
So technology isn't just about making things faster, it's about meeting these non-negotiable market access rules.
It's fundamental for compliance now.
Okay. So we've laid out the huge ambition, the serious roadblocks, but also these clear pathways forward, value addition, sustainability, tech, skills. Bringing it all together, what are the absolute key actions Bangladesh needs to take? What are the main recommendations coming out of all this?
Well, based on the sources, it boils down to a few core priorities. Number one, absolutely. Prioritize and fix the Savar CETP. Get it fully operational to meet standards and allow for LWG certification. That might mean a high-level task force, maybe even bringing in an international firm to audit and manage the completion.
Job one.
Second, develop a proper national policy for rawhide management. Set up units to monitor prices and ensure proper preservation. Invest in things like cold storage and near collection points. Train the butchers and traders properly. Stop that initial waste and quality loss.
Right, tackle the problem at the source.
Third, incentivize technology upgrades and R&D, especially in sustainable leather. Offer financial help for companies buying modern machinery. support those innovative plant-based alternative startups.
Got it. Tech and innovation.
Fourth, strengthen compliance systems. Build those robust digital traceability platforms needed for EUDR. Ensure adherence to chemical regulations like REACH.
Compliance frameworks.
Fifth, foster better public-private partnerships. Make it easier to attract investment, streamline the FDI process.
Collaboration.
Sixth, actively invest in branding, made in Bangladesh leather. Build a reputation for quality globally, not just low cost, so they can command better prices.
Build the brand.
And finally, seventh, empower the workforce. Continuous skill development, training programs tailored to the industry's evolving needs across that entire value chain.
Okay, that's a pretty comprehensive roadmap. CETP, rawhides, tech, compliance, investment, branding, skills.
It needs to be comprehensive because the problems are all linked.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive. You see the incredible potential, but also just how complex and interconnected these challenges are for the Bangladesh leather industry.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It really highlights that compliance trap we talked about.
Yeah.
The CETP issue leads to no LWG cert, which means limited markets and lower prices, which then reduces the money available to invest in fixing the CETP or other upgrades.
A vicious cycle.
Exactly. And it underscores that Bangladesh's old advantage, just having low-cost labor, well, that's not enough anymore, not for this sector anyway.
Right.
The future growth, hitting those ambitious targets, it really hinges on moving up the value chain. That means superior quality, it means innovation, and it absolutely requires a solid commitment to sustainability and compliance, even if that means higher costs up front.
It's a fundamental shift they need to make. Quite the paradox, isn't it? So much potential held back by these foundational issues.
A huge paradox.
All right, so to wrap this up, here's a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. We've talked a lot about digital transformation and automation, not just as nice-to-haves, but as fundamental enablers for survival and growth. So the question is, how can an entire industry like Bangladesh's leather sector truly embrace a complete digital overhaul? Not just tweaking things, but a transformation of its whole supply chain from the literally to the finished product on the factory floor to secure its future in a world that demands transparency and sustainability. How do you make that leap?